So first, welcome everybody to another Cyberscope Twitter space where we'll be unlocking the secrets of Web3. This time with a team from TokenFlow. So it's a pleasure to have you here, guys, today, and I'm sure we're gonna have a really exciting space like we always do. Perhaps in this case, it's gonna be even more exciting.
Yeah. So I guess I will take the first part of conversation. So Mihailo can answer later more technical questions since he's a big brain in our team, our blockchain of VP engineering. So yeah.
Okay, awesome. So let's start. Let's start by giving if you could perhaps give us a short introduction to but make sure it's brief, please, because we're going to get into more details later on. So just a brief introduction to TokenFlow and basically your roles within the company.
Yeah, sure. So TokenFlow is full service smart contract development agency based in Chicago. We are kind of newer in the space since at the beginning of this year. Mikhail and I decided to co-found TokenFlow. As I feel everyone in Web3, our team is like spread all around the world, and we are like remote first company. So yeah, that's the short intro about the company, and then about my and Mihailo position. We are kind of very particular what side of business both of us take care. I'm taking care of business development side since that's what I'm best at and what's my all experience in Web3 space, while Mihailo is handling everything related to blockchain development. So yeah, he's a VP of blockchain engineering, and I'm head of business development.
Awesome, guys. So tell us a bit more about your story and basically how did you guys get into Web3? Perhaps some information on your background and so on.
Yeah. So I'm born and raised in Serbia, same as Mihailo, but my path took me on another in another direction since I went in US to study and play volleyball. And naturally, I guess after that, I just stayed there and keep living. So my first touch with crypto was like when I was like, I would say like 12. I remember like scam sites with like, oh, buy Bitcoin and stuff like that. But later on, when I get like more introduced to crypto while I was in college, and later on, I understood that was all like scam website and links. But when I got more interesting and start learning and paying full attention to crypto, is around my second year on college, since I was looking ways to make money online, and then I bumped on crypto again. And once I put in invested first $100, I just started learning more and more. As everybody say, like where you put your money, where money goes, attention flows. So yeah, that was like my beginnings of Web3 space, and later on it just like followed each other, one job to another job with crypto space. The last one before we started TokenFlow was in Web3 startup based in Miami, which was focusing on creator economy and leveraging blockchain technology in video space and infrastructure overall. And then for Mihailo, I think he can give a better introduction of himself than I could.
Okay, thanks, Angel. So basically, my path started back like maybe 5 or 6 years ago when I got introduced first to web development space, and generally I was working in multiple roles as a full stack developer. And then over time, I got started investing. So I was first in the stock market, but then I realized the potential of the crypto, and specifically, I started with ETH and then expanded to all the other investments. And then gradually, I kind of like figured out that okay, let's merge these two together. So I like investing in crypto and I'm a developer. So let's do some development for the crypto. So that's kind of like how I got into it.
Nice. Pretty interesting stories. Did you guys get any lucky with your first investment within the space?
Oh, like not at all. I mean, I initially got lucky. So I got lucky with major L1s like Phantom, AVAX, Solana, but then lost it all. So kind of like I was basically at the starting point.
I would say that I kind of got lucky since I was in college and I was buying Ethereum when it was like, I swear, $150. But at that time, I didn't have a lot of money. So for me to invest $100 was like, oh, I have to like save for a month to invest that amount. So yeah, but like later on in the cycle, I guess everyone lost some part of the money during the bull run craze. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's kind of how it goes, actually. Like, you first make bank, and then you just throw it in the market, right where you got it from. So I'm more interested to find out, basically, how did you guys come up with the idea of creating a Web3 development agency? Did you find some sort of gap within the market that you wanted to fill in?
Yeah, I think that the main reason for co-founding TokenFlow is the lack of skill that we saw in our extensive experience working in like Web3 startup scene. Since in my previous role in the crypto startup, I was like director of operations and I was in touch with a lot of developers. And since I was one of the first hire, I was like hiring, talking to people, managing developers, just being that bridge between devs and rest of the team. And I found it really, really like hard to manage all developers. Like either they lack the skill or they claim they have experience and knowledge they didn't have or they were from all around the world, so it was very hard to like put them to work together if someone is in Japan, someone is in Latin America. And since Web3 is a new space, to find a very skilled and experienced Web3 developer was like a miracle. Either you have to pay them a lot or you were just struggling to find and like build a great team within the company. And then Mihailo, since we knew each other for so long and we shared similar path, career path, we like got together and we were talking and we were like literally like come up with this idea. I'm gonna say together in the same time. We're like, why don't we assemble all the best developers that we work with, all the knowledge and experience, and just build a killer team who can build literally whatever our clients want. So that's kind of what we did at the beginning of this year, and it showed as a great decision since it is a bear market, but still I think we have a lot of potential, and it's like becoming more obvious by the day through work with our clients, partners, and so on.
Well, if you ask me, bear market is the best. It's the best market for going forward with a startup, just because you got a lot of time to like experiment and build, develop, and so on. Whereas like when the market is booming, like most projects or companies, or call it whatever you want, they usually are not as sustainable because. I don't know. As long as you have like a strong fundamentals and like a strong base below you. Yeah. Anyways, so did you guys? I can only assume that you went through a lot of challenges while building the agency. So what are some of the challenges that you faced so far?
I would say the biggest challenges that most of like Web3 startup faces is assembling a great team and finding the talent. But since we already have access to a lot of talented developers and experience, we don't have problem finding them and assembling a great team. What I found as a challenge is more how to educate our clients who are not like Web3 native and are coming from Web2 space but want to implement blockchain technology, how to onboard them and educate them, and once we build technology for them, how they can leverage this technology later on and actually utilize the full potential of it. Since once we build it for them, we are there for them, right? If they need any help, assistance, revision, we're always there for our clients. But we don't want the technology just to be add on their business without any benefit, right? Because from what we saw in the last couple of years, there's a lot of projects that are like integrating blockchain technology in their business, but they are not even like, there's no benefits of that integration, right? Why did you do even that in the first place? You just wasted your resources, time, and energy. I hope you learned something in that process, but generally, we want our clients to really, really know what they're doing with technology.
Nice, nice. I actually love the approach. I feel like education is kind of a magic word in our industry, just because there's a lot of lack of knowledge and education in our space. Respect the approach, guys. So, what are the key aspects of TokenFlow, and basically, what differentiates you from the competition? Because there's a lot of competition out there, that's for sure.
Yeah, there is a lot of the competition, but what I would say is that everyone claims they have a best team. They prioritize their clients. They claim all these things, which I feel like every company is saying when you ask them how they differentiate. But what we stand behind is like the the phrase "action speaks louder than words." And usually, when we work with clients or somebody, we are like, just give us something to build for you. We're not going to charge. You're going to see how we build and how we approach everything. And if you like it, let's keep working, right? uh, we want There's no words that can prove, right, when it comes to blockchain development. So for us to deliver on our promises, execute, and keep our integrity, the best way to do is just let try to work with us.
Okay, that's great. And I also wanted to mention that one of the other key aspects that you mentioned in the previous question is the whole education part. We don't really hear it often, to be honest. And I've never seen any other Web3 development agencies that take this sort of path. Because essentially you're not only developing for them, but you're also like teaching them on how to use the technology and perhaps how to develop it further, um, which is kind of a prop, in my opinion.
Yeah, like what I would add on is we are talking with a couple of accelerators, incubators, launchpads, and also in the same time we are talking with a lot of projects we're building in Web3 space. And what we found to just talking and working with them is that a lot of these accelerators, they even claim they're like Web3 accelerator. They they help startups, right? Create a pitch deck, like I don't know how to execute, how to hire talent, raise funds, but like small number of them actually educate them how to build strong blockchain foundations. And what we are planning to focus on in the Q4 of this year is just try to build connections with these accelerators or whatever, like launchpads, and say, hey, let us help startups within your program. We will just give free workshops, education, answer any of questions if they have. We will give discount of our on our services because we really love the Web3 space. That's where we at and where our careers are. And to be able to help us grow is to help others grow. So we are coming with this approach of more give than ask, rather than just ask endlessly.
Yep, love it, guys. So since we kind of started talking about the projects and everything, would you mind giving us a few examples of the most significant projects that you've worked with so far, and basically, um, perhaps the one that you've helped the most, let's say.
Uh, I will give this to Mihailo since he can give a better explanation than me.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Angela. So basically, a lot of the projects that we did are the NDAs, and there's a lots of stuff that we're currently working on that we cannot yet share. But I'll say that primarily the projects that we helped with were mostly Web3 native. So basically projects that knew what they wanted. So out of the top three maybe things that I'll mention, one is maybe first is the what we helped to our previous employer. So basically choosing the right scaling solution, trying to minimize the gas fees, trying to basically optimize the UX and the whole like experience around basically getting the fees to be the smallest, yet maintaining the security and the integrity of the entire DAO and related services. So that's one thing. And the other two that I'll mention are probably the two of the DeFi protocols that I personally had the chance to work on. One is the long-term finance protocol, which is protocol for tokenizing for collateralized tokenization of the basically altcoin market. So everything except Bitcoin and ETH. And there, the big challenge was basically building this oracle because it wasn't just readily available. So I needed basically to figure out what to integrate besides just Chainlink. And lastly, one that is kind of like related to this, it's also in the DeFi space, and it's called the AUX Finance Protocol, which is the protocol for tracking the various volatility indices on chain, one of which is the VIX, or the basically volatility index of the stock market. So that's kind of like one of the things that's used to hedge in these bear markets.
Awesome. Thank you for your response, Mihailo. So as always, security is really important in the Web3 space, and most importantly in Web3 development, obviously. So, how does your agency make sure that the projects that you're working with are safe, but yet are still being creative and innovative? Or perhaps, do you have any sort of due diligence process that you go through before working with clients and so on?
Oh yes, definitely. So one of the things that we kind of like always make sure to mention to our clients is this viable? So we are not just here to take the money out of someone. We're not just there to kind of like, oh yeah, everything is nice. We're also there to give our opinions about the tokenomics, about the sustainability of the project. Is it something that kind of like holds any matter? And then if that's true, even if it's not, we just always try to warn clients so to see if it's the right idea to proceed. But to answer your question, primarily my approach there is to kind of like be creative at first, and then when you build everything that you intended to, then to rigorously basically audit or just go for every single line of code to deliver the 100% test coverage, to deliver basically the utmost security.
Yep. Nice. Totally agree with you. So in terms of trends in the Web3 space, which ones are you most excited about, especially on the development side of things? And kind of how do you think that these trends will essentially change the industry, kind of shape it, let's say?
Oh, I think definitely that kind of like what will happen is that we'll have the clear winners based on network effects. So that's one of the things that I'm firmly believe in. And in my opinion, the one ecosystem in development in particular that has the highest chance of winning there is your classic EVM stack. So Solidity and the basically frameworks around it. So things like Hardhat, Foundry, etc. So Foundry is one of the things that I personally also started to use, and it's one of the trends there. But one trend that I'm particularly excited about is the cross-chain token standards, such as on-chain fungible tokens from Layer 0. There are also other ones like XERC20 from Connext and some others. But kind of like the cross-chain development is there to unlock use cases and to unify liquidity like we have never seen before. Also, the other trend is kind of like with the Chapel upgrade from Ethereum, we now have a bunch of new liquid staking derivatives protocols. So LSDeFi, part of the DeFi, is definitely the big trend there. And kind of like what else I can mention is, of course, anything related to zero knowledge protocols. And not just in terms of scaling, but also in terms of maybe privacy, in terms of decentralized identity, and various other use cases, which are now starting to really ramp up in funding and development.
Nice, interesting answer. I was kind of expecting. Yeah, I was expecting you to go more into the whole AI side of things, because I wanted to ask you, do you consider AI being some sort of what do you call it, like an enemy for the Web3 development agencies? Since I guess in the near future, AI will be able to kind of build everything from scratch.
Oh no, actually, and the reason why I didn't mention it is because I see the AI as a synergistic thing. So AI may just be the only thing that kind of like has the potential to be more transformative than the blockchain and entire like crypto space in general. So what I'll say that's kind of like the way I imagine it and the way I see the future coming is it's probably going to be a thing that is helping to increase the productivity of any other sector, including our like sectors of Web3 development. So I'm not afraid at all. And for a simple fact that people will always need more complex, more customized solutions, and kind of like there will always be something that you'll need to work on. So maybe the roles will change. So that's kind of like for sure guaranteed over some time. And maybe there not be just as many like kind of like looking at the code, but I kind of like to differentiate the development process from just coding. So that's kind of like one thing that I believe that a lot of people get wrong. So it's about the conceiving the idea, about the planning the UX, about basically integrating all of these elements together and not just kind of like staring at the code and your traditional coding.
Yep. I actually like the way you answered and basically kind of perceive the whole AI side of things. Um, as demand grows for Web3, obviously it's getting more popular by the day. What kind of strategies do you guys use to manage the increase in traffic and demand? Whether it is like by developing some sort of layer two or I don't know.
So as for the demand, kind of like I can kind of like already partially answered it with my most anticipated Web3 trends, but yes, definitely layer 2 scaling solutions and also layer 3. So one interesting space that we're also now expanding into is the app chains or layer 3s. So however someone wants to call them. So there's basically things in this category include the Polygon supernets, Avalanche subnets, also new standards that I really love, such as Optimism Superchain and Arbitron's Orbit, which is also set to go live like very soon. So those are kind of like some of the primary things there. And what I imagine is going to be also really helpful is the kind of like the further continuation of the basically the execution of the Ethereum's roadmap. So things like such as sharding, which are probably going to make layer 2s much more cheaper than they already are. So we are talking about kind of like basically they're taking approach of let's build an approach in which you have the more users you have, the more it can scale, and not the other way around. The more users you have, the harder it is to scale.
Yep. So we kind of speed ran the whole Twitter space. To be fair, so it's kind of my last question here. What does the future hold for TokenFlow and basically how do you plan to keep up with the fast paced environment and perhaps some of the competition out there has already got a head start. Um, yeah. So how do you plan to keep up with the within the fast paced environment?
Okay, so probably the primary thing that I figured out is of high value in the marketplace is the specialization. So we are probably gonna specialize in certain fields of Web3 development that we seem our engineers like to be most capable in. So one of the areas is definitely, I'll say, the whole DeFi space, and kind of like I'll say that it's also my background and my specialty. And within DeFi itself, cross-chain development is one thing. Then next thing will probably be into the core development of blockchains itself. So that's kind of like one of the things that it's much harder to basically get these services for than just smart contract development. And also, I'll say that one thing that's not there to be underappreciated and is kind of like there to also help us in the future is the people-centric approach. So what I like to say always is people first, processes second. So one of the things kind of like that we also always pay attention to is are people that we are working with culturally fit kind of like to work with us. So sometimes if we are ready to reject clients if we don't see there's kind of like a synergy there and kind of like a good communication between us. So that's probably one of the key parts there also to remain kind of like sane in this, as you mentioned, like fast-paced environment, and especially now it's probably crypto regulations. If if they kind of like get loosened, and if the next bull market comes, kind of like there will be a lot of demand, and there will be probably a lot of things to do.
Yeah, I must say I'm kind of impressed with your approach on many different things, because I sense you guys are very ethical, and it's definitely something, ethics. We definitely lack ethics within this space. That's a fact, and I also think that this is another factor that just kind of differentiates you from everybody else. Um, so yeah, let's see how it plays out. Since we got some time, if you also have some time, of course, because I know Angela mentioned that you guys have some calls after the AMA. If you don't mind me asking a few more kind of more generalized questions.
Sure.
Okay, awesome. So as we know, like Web3 is mainly community based, right? So it's kind of run by the community. What role does the community play in such a firm like yours? So in a Web3 development agency.
So that's an interesting question that you asked, because Mikhail and I had a discussion about this when we talked with a couple of partners last week. Since we are not building startup, right? We don't have a project that's on our own. We are like delivering services for our clients. And then we thought, so who is our community? Our community is our clients. So that's why Mihailo mentioned that's very important for us to build very strong and like very strong relationship with our clients and partners in general, because it goes like brick by brick. You're building you're building a wall. So yeah, I think the main focus is for us is educating, and when you educate, you build community. You wanted that or not. So as I mentioned, if we are talking with accelerator and we are talking with founders and people in their program, we are helping them by giving it free educational advices. That's the way of building community. If I'm talking with my client and some of his developers might have question, we answer them more than openly, right? We always love to help. That's one of the way of building community. So I think every contact with some of the people you work with is a way of building community when you are agency that provides services. So I think this I hope this makes sense.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. Yeah, like you said, it's a joint effort of just basically educating the people around us. So in the long run, the space will thrive, considering everybody has the same sort of mindset around it. And all right, one more last question, which is super generalized. Where do you see the Web3 space within the next 10 years? Perhaps I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this, since you guys are into developing and everything.
Mikhail, do you want to take this one?
Yeah. Also, I mean, we can both give
I
our
kind, I
takes.
kind of feel like developers also have to kind of foresee the future, so they kind of stay on top from everybody else, and developers are supposed to be pioneers, right? So interested to hear your thoughts on this, Mihailo.
So basically, the first thing that where I see the future going to is basically concentration in the key blockchains and key stacks there. So there will be probably a phase in which you have a lot of new chains like layer twos, and layer threes popping up, but there will be kind of like only a few of them to survive in any meaningful fashion. And basically, the way I see the future is after this phase, and probably in getting kind of like to see who will be the winners. After that, I see a phase of UX basically getting upgraded. So that's the key thing. So UX and education are the two key pillars that kind of like we have missing in the broader Web3 adoption. So as for the UX, probably the one thing that's going to be happening, there'll be what a trend which I call kind of like abstraction everything. So we have account abstraction, and also now heard about the chain abstraction, token abstraction. Like there will be basically everything abstracted. There will be everything like as simple as it gets. So which means probably counterintuitively for developers, it will be more complex to build on, and to basically create this illusion and to create this optimized UX. I mean, at least before we have kind of like the new tools for developers to build those things. And then kind of like what you also have to achieve a true massive adoption, there will be a lot of like attempts to educate people basically on most basic things. So which trends do I anticipate to be kind of like the first in this adoption wave? There will be probably what I call kind of like basically I read an article from Vitalik, and he said summary was complex DeFi bad, simple DeFi good. And the reason was kind of like to achieve broader adoption, you need to have a broad user base of people kind of like using your services. So things like basic DEXs, staking protocols, maybe lending and money markets, those things kind of like I see to be the most used and to have the highest chance of winning if they pull out this network effect. Yeah.
Nice, thank you for your input. And I totally agree. I totally agree with you. Especially, I think there's like a strong correlation between education and UX. Definitely, really strong correlation between these two. Mainly because like you said, I mean, everything is kind of complex. Even after so many years, they're still pretty complex. So as long as you have the knowledge to just navigate through the technology, then you're good. But if you don't, it's kind of hard to onboard new people, and especially kind of boomers around the world, which are kind of hating crypto at the minute.
Yeah, what I would add is like how I envision like blockchain adoption to like achieve some level of success is when my mother is going to use app and that she doesn't even know that blockchain technology is underlying technology of the app she's using, because I feel like at the end of the day technology has to be seamless to be adopted globally. So for boomers and general people who are not that much into technology, I think it's really has to be like really great like user experience, and they don't like you don't want users even to think or know that they're using blockchain technology. So yeah.
Yeah, very well said. Very well said. Good point right there. I really like your mindset and thoughts and kind of perception on these matters, guys. So I'm sure you're gonna do great. Um, I mean, I think we kind of covered most aspects of the company essentially. I don't know if you guys want to add anything else on top of it, or perhaps discuss something that I didn't mention. Feel free to let me know.
Yeah, I'll just add just as the last thing to kind of like I forgot to mention the importance of just understanding like Bitcoin, and as I see the gateway for people to getting into the space. That's how the vast majority of people who actually stay there got into it. So kind of like I'll say that that's the first thing. Like people first need to understand like all those kinds of like common things around like why limited supply is important, how blockchain really works, why kind of like you can why you have phrases such as like don't trust, verify, etc. And when you have people kind of like accepting this as a general knowledge, then there is a space for broad adoption of entire like Web3 space and everything else, which kind of like has the such an unlimited potential to grow that it's kind of like, yeah, we are just at the start of this curve. Yeah.
Yep, definitely at the start. Angela, you wanted to say something. Sorry, I cut you off.
No worries. What I would add is like, and what I'm trying when I'm talking with younger people, especially females in the space, is like if you are if you don't know anything about like Web3 and crypto, and you heard about like at least try to understand the basics, right? Because crypto is here to stay, and blockchain technology is gonna be like global thing adopted. So why not at least try to understand basic and see how you can integrate that in your career, your everyday life, and how you can actually benefit of understanding technology rather than just avoiding it or hearing from other people. And some of them might say it's bad, don't invest, crypto is scam, and some of them are really like trying to push the adoption. So it's very critical, as we mentioned a lot of times throughout this conversation, like education, education, education.
Yeah, and like you said, I'm really excited for the time when people will be using this sort of technology without knowing that they're using an app that it's running on the blockchain essentially. So because a lot of people just cannot understand how the technology works, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all. Like my father, how's my father going to understand how blockchain works? He's not. He's never going to understand it. So I'm just really excited for the time where he's going to be using this technology, like you said, without knowing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like for boomers and older generations, that's the only way they're gonna adopt technology. But for like younger generation, I think they should educate like about Web3, AI, space travel. Like I really think education is the fuel for the expansion and growth, and it like innovation is positive for humankind. So why not then like go meet and learn about it rather than try to escape it.
Yep, 100%. Okay, guys. So it was great having you here today, and I definitely enjoyed the discussion. And I'm looking forward to actually getting you on here again at some point in the future. Perhaps you'll have some updates for us.
Yeah, definitely. We really enjoyed today, especially talking with people who are coming from Web3 space and who are very technically skilled as you guys at Cyberscope. Because most of our previous Twitter spaces in our previous companies were more like talking to community, and it was just like a different type of conversation, even both of this conversation around Web3, right? So really, we really enjoy talking with other people in the space who understand technology and who are on the forefront of the space.
Awesome. Actually, we're going to be hosting some roundtables in the near future, and you guys are very interesting guests. So we'll definitely make sure to bring you on the roundtable, and have a fruitful discussion with other members as well. Guests, sorry. My bad.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so thank you everybody for joining. We're kind of gonna shut it down here, and I hope to see you on the next one. Thank you, Mihailo. Thank you, Angela, for joining us today. Have a great have a great Friday, and have a great weekend.
Thank you. Talk to you again. Bye, guys.
Thank
See
you.
you
Bye.
later. Bye, y'all.
Bye.